Maybe this morning when you opened the door and stepped into your yard, a small bird had already seen you before you even noticed it. It did not sing to greet you. It did not fly closer because it liked you the way humans often imagine. But the strange thing is this: it may already know you. Not your name, not your face like an old friend, but the rhythm of your footsteps, the time you usually appear, whether you move quickly or slowly, whether you swing your arms too much, whether you come too close, and whether your voice is usually calm or loud. If that bird has lived around your yard long enough, then in its tiny world, you may no longer be a stranger. You may have become part of its map of safety. That sounds hard to believe, doesn't it? How could a tiny bird, sitting on a fence, a tree branch, or beside a backyard feeder, possibly evaluate a human being? But nature does not work through loud declarations. It works through signals, through habits, through repetition. A backyard bird may not understand who you are, but it understands something far more important: whether you are dangerous or not. Imagine a sparrow or a northern cardinal that has been visiting your yard for months. Every morning it perches on a branch near the porch. It sees you open the curtains. It sees you step outside to get the mail. It sees you water the plants. It sees you refill the feeder. To you, those things are completely ordinary. You do them, and then you forget them. But to the bird, every time you appear, it receives another piece of information. It does not remember like a human. It does not sit there thinking, this is the kind homeowner. No. Do not turn nature into a cartoon. Nature is not that childish. But it can learn a pattern. This person usually walks in that direction. This person does not chase me. This person does not throw things. This person often leaves food and walks away. This person can come close, but does not attack. And after hundreds of small observations, that tiny brain begins placing you into a special category. Not a friend, not an enemy, but a presence that can be tolerated. And that is where the change begins. Because in the life of a wild bird, safety is never a small thing. One wrong sound, one stare that lasts too long, one step that comes too fast, one hand rising suddenly. Any of these can make it fly away instantly. To us, it may be just an unconscious movement, but to the bird, it may be a danger signal. And here is the surprising part. Sometimes what scares a bird most is not how close you are, but how you look at it. In nature, many predators stare directly at their prey before they strike. A cat stalking a bird will stare intensely. A hawk locking onto a target will focus its eyes. Even humans, when trying to catch something, usually look straight at it first. So to a small bird, a long, direct stare does not feel like attention. It feels like a warning: something is targeting me. That is why you can walk across the yard and the bird may stay still. But the moment you stop, turn your head, and stare directly at it for too long, it flies away. Not because it hates you, but because you just sent the wrong signal. You thought you were admiring it. It understood that you were locking onto it. And this is where it gets interesting. If the wrong kind of eye contact can make it afraid, then the right kind of eye contact can help it feel less afraid. You do not need to train it. You do not need to make it eat from your hand. You do not need some fancy trick. Just one small signal, gentle enough, repeated enough, and calm enough. The next time you step into your yard and see a familiar bird perched near the feeder, do not rush toward it. Do not bend down too quickly. Do not stare at it as if you have just found treasure. Do not wave your hands around like someone who lives in a hurry, makes everything noisy, and then wonders why every living thing avoids them. Pause for a moment. Look at it softly for about 1 or 2 seconds, just long enough to acknowledge that it is there. Then look away. You can say something very quietly in a low voice. Hi there, or it's okay, or just make a small, steady, calm sound. Then continue what you were doing. Refill the feeder, water the plants, pick up the dry leaves, then walk away. It sounds too simple, doesn't it? That is exactly why so many people ignore it. People think there must be some advanced method, some powerful technique, some magical secret. Meanwhile, many real changes in nature begin with actions so small that most people are too impatient to repeat them. But to the bird, this signal is very clear. You saw it. You did not chase it. You did not approach too quickly. You did not hold a threatening stare. You stayed calm. One time may not change much, but if you do it again tomorrow, and again the next day, and again next week, the bird begins to build a new pattern about you. You are not just the person who appears in the yard, not just the person who leaves food, but someone who can notice it without harming it. And if you are patient enough, you may begin to see very small changes. At first, it flies away the moment you open the door. Later, it only moves to a higher branch. Then one day, it stays near the feeder when you step onto the porch. And another day, it turns its head, looks at you, and does not fly away. That moment is tiny. So tiny that if you live too fast, you will miss it. But if you pay attention, you will understand what just happened. A wild creature has decided that it does not need to fear you the way it did before. Not because it loves you, not because it is grateful like a bird in a cartoon, not because it is calling you its best friend, but because in its risky little world, you have just been moved down one level of danger. And for a wild bird, that alone is a big thing, because their lives are not as long as we often imagine. Some small birds live only a few years. Some stay around your garden for 1 season, 2 seasons, and then disappear. Some birds you see every morning this year may not be there next year. To us, a yard is just a yard, but to that bird, it may be its entire universe. That tree is shelter. That fence is a lookout point. That feeder is a food source. That low bush is where it hides when a cat passes by. And you, the person stepping out of the door each morning, are also part of that universe. You can be the sound that frightens it, or you can become a repeated signal of peace. The difference sometimes comes down to the way you step into the yard. A small bird spends its whole life staying alert. It must watch the sky for hawks. It must watch the ground for cats. It must listen to the leaves to know whether danger is near. It must compete with other birds for food. It must find water. It must find a place to sleep. It does not have a completely carefree day the way we like to imagine. So if your presence can help it feel even a little less stressed, that is not a small thing. A bird that does not panic and fly away every time saves energy. It has more time to eat, more time to rest, more stability in the place where it lives, and you do not have to spend money. You do not need expensive equipment. You do not need to do anything dramatic. You only need to be less rough, less rushed, less like the kind of human who always thinks they are the center of everything, storming into every space as if the whole world should move out of their way. You only need to slow down for 2 seconds. 2 seconds to look softly. 2 seconds to speak gently. 2 seconds to send one clear signal. I see you, but I will not hurt you. It sounds small, but in a short life, small can be enormous. And the most beautiful part is this. When you begin doing this, you change too. You will no longer see your yard as empty space. You will begin to notice individual lives. The bird that arrives earliest every morning. The shy one that waits for the others to eat first. The bold one that flies closer as soon as you refill the feeder. The one that always tilts its head and looks toward the window. Suddenly, the world around you is no longer nameless. It has rhythms. It has habits. It has slow trust. It has relationships that do not need to be named. And that is something many modern people have lost. If you have a garden, a balcony, a window, or even just one tree outside your home, try observing it. There may be a bird that has been there for a long time. And maybe it is not waiting for your love. Maybe it is waiting for a signal that you are safe. If there is a bird near your home that you see often, tell me in the comments. What kind of bird is it? When does it usually appear? Does it still seem afraid of you? And after watching this video, do you want to try the 2-second soft glance and quiet voice? Tomorrow morning when you step outside, do not rush. Before you pick up your phone, before you check your messages, before your mind gets pulled into all the noise of the day, look around for a moment. If you see a bird, do not scare it. Just look softly. 1 second, 2 seconds, then look away. Say very quietly, "Hi there, you're safe today." Then continue with your day. Maybe it will fly away. That is okay. Maybe it will stay just a little longer. Remember that moment, because it may be the first time in its short life that it sees you not only as a possible danger, but as a familiar part of its world. And when that happens, your yard will never feel quite the same again.